Hi everyone, welcome to Izulami. My name is Natasha.
My name is Khumo, and thank you for joining us again. And welcome back to us more than anything, because you never went anywhere.
Yeah. So today we just thought, after our short little break, call it season 2.5 now, we just decided to start off the season with just like a light conversation between myself and Khumo, more like a random chat, get to know us. Let's just have random conversation about stuff, right? So it's unscripted. We're just going with the flow, and yeah, just unscripted.
Yeah, because a lot of us
unscripted, authentic us coming to you, right?
Yeah.
So Khumo, what's up? How's been lockdown? Let's start there.
From the beginning.
In general, like how you been feeling? I feel like I haven't seen you in like a while. I mean, I definitely haven't seen you in a while.
We definitely haven't seen each other in a while, right?
Yeah.
And seeing other people with YouTube channels and they're coming together, and I'm just like,
coming together as in they're recording in the same room.
Yeah, like a lot of people are like now recording in the same
masks.
room.
Do they have masks? Maybe we should look into
I didn't see masks.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, let me drink my drink. So lockdown has been interesting. So the first 2 months, I was okay. I was at home with my family, and it was nice. I was like comfortable. My mom was making me breakfast every morning, and I was
living the life.
I was living my life. I would work, and I could pace myself, and I felt like I had a rhythm. And then I went back to Johannesburg. And I was still working from home. But I don't know, just the vibe changed.
Yeah.
Like, I think I just got tired of the world and being alone. And though I was just going through so much just at work. So I was just like, every day. I couldn't. I needed to take walks. I was just like, I am in my thoughts way too much. And I had a lot of anxiety because now you're like in the epicenter of Corona and you're watching the news and they're just like, well, don't go to Sandton City, otherwise you're going to die.
Yeah.
So I was just paranoid all the time. I'd go to the shops and sanitize 1 million times and, get to like even stand in line. So
do you also feel like every time you leave the house, you come back with like symptoms?
Yeah, so my throat
immediately.
And I get a headache immediately.
And it lasts like 2 days, and I'm just like, I hate mind games. Jeez. Yeah, no. Okay. Yeah. But how are you feeling now, though?
I'm feeling much better. So I took a 2-week break from work and from anything. Like, I took a week, I think, at some point from social media. So I took a break.
Yeah, you were gone.
And I did nothing. Like, people are just like, so what did you get up to? I did nothing.
Nothing.
I would wake up.
Zero.
Coffee. And I would watch series, like binge series. Like, I'm like, oh, today is Succession Day. Tomorrow seems like a good day to rewatch Grey's Anatomy. And I came back after that feeling so much better about myself, about the environment, about life, about the world. Really, really I feel much better. I feel much better. Like, things are still bad, but I'm okay. Yeah.
I guess at some point we deal, right? I think for me, lockdown. So I mean, I generally like live alone, right? Sorry, I'm recording in my room, and so because my living room, my natural recording space, is a mess. So I don't know. I generally live alone, so I didn't feel that sense of like, I'm lonely and whatever. And I'm generally just like someone who likes my space and being indoors. So I didn't necessarily feel like, oh my gosh, lockdown, I need to be with people, type of thing. Because my weekends like never changed. During the week, I'm just as busy and stuff. But I must say that on a work front, and I think everyone complains, like the hours are so much longer. Like the back-to-back meetings, you actually have to be deliberate in terms of like booking your calendar to say, I'm out of office for lunch. Like I'm done, right? I'm not accepting meetings at 7:30 in the morning. Like, what? No, we're not doing that. But yeah, and then, I mean, I got to a lot of, like, up to a lot of stuff. I started a vegetable garden. I haven't started eating from that garden yet. I don't know how long it takes to actually grow.
But yeah, that is so cute.
I had to keep myself busy, right? Like, generally. Yeah, but I mean, lockdown has been fine. I've realized just how much I'm oversubscribed to stuff that I never actually use.
Yes.
And I just had to cancel all those subscriptions because I'm like, oh my gosh, 200 Rand for what? Oh my gosh, 79 Rand. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, I've never used this app like in like 6-7 months. So I just had to like cancel all that. So that's like more cost savings. And also just buying a lot of food. Yeah, you know, TikTok. Also, I went on TikTok. I haven't made my own TikTok videos though, but
it's so complicated. I think I went for like a few minutes.
Yeah. I find TikTok so addictive, right? Like the content is just, I'm just like, okay, next video. And then I'm like 2 hours into TikTok when I'm supposed to be studying or doing something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the day is gone. Well, I'll try again tomorrow.
Oh, because
such a mess. Such a mess. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's been hectic.
So, okay. So what do you think you kind of like learned about yourself? If anything, if there was like any kind of lesson from the lockdown?
Sure. Yeah. Jeez, I don't know. That's a loaded question, right? Because it requires you to like introspect and reflect.
Yeah.
I think what I learned is I actually have more interests than I thought I did. You know, I find myself like reading definitely a little bit more like during lockdown, whether it's like listening to an audiobook or actually physically reading. I actually managed to go through some of my books on my bookshelf, so that's good. And I also like started reading up on like more stuff, right? So I'm on this academic journey and I'm realizing that it's not like this path is not something that I want to do, and my interest actually lies somewhere else, right? So I've been like exploring that a little bit more, and I'm just like discovering like new interests and like likes and like hobbies, and you know, just like starting like a small business now, and I'm just like learning so much in that process as well. And I'm just like, geez, like you can read up on stuff until you actually do it, you know nothing. It's hectic. But yeah.
So tell us more about the small business.
Why you gotta put me on the spot?
Because I knew if I don't do it, you won't do it. This conversation was going to end and nothing would have been said.
So I have a big like DIY passion, like, you know this, right? So everything that I do in this house is like DIY. So from like coffee tables to whatever that I do is DIY. And I also just like DIY like my own candles. So I have a big passion for like candles, scented candles, right? But I can't afford to buy a 400 Rand candle every month. It just doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
And also the candles are made out of paraffin. So I decided, why don't I just like make my own whatever? So since the beginning of lockdown, I've been experimenting with like scents, experimenting with like waxes and all that stuff. And then I was like, oh, well, I could, if I can do this, and like, you know, I really love candles. There are other people, I mean, there's a market for it. And, you know, going more organic and stuff. So I decided to start my own candle line, artisanal candles. Yehu's Handmade Essentials. So you guys must, you know, look us up on Instagram and on Facebook. But yeah, but like, look, I've only been in business for like 2 weeks, and I speak like I've been in business for a long time. But I think this is going to be the 3rd week. And like the interest has been amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still learning a lot, right?
Yeah.
Accounting, bookkeeping, all that stuff. But yeah, it's been great. I enjoy it.
Yay! That's so
Two more
exciting.
sales!
Like you're really, your candle stuff. I mean, I got into scented candles because I'd always walk into your place and I'd be like, what is that? What does this smell like? So, I mean, there's something about it, something very soothing about like coming back home and switching on your candles and like, just like,
it's like self-care, right? Like self-care is not just like sitting at home on a Sunday and wearing face masks, and cooking and stuff. Self-care is even in the space, the air that we breathe. That's self-care,
Definitely.
So you have to invest in that. And now, like, it's lockdown and we're all at home, you definitely need to invest more in that.
Space has to be self-carey, like, because it's a working space as well. It has to like feel like a breathing environment, like exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So so and like also like like researching like different scents and the benefit it has just like on your mental state, right? Like when you inhale like lavender, you feel like calm, and when you inhale like different scents, it has like a play on how you're feeling emotionally. So I think like just going down that route of like researching like all those different scents and different oils that people actually use has been also like quite enlightening, and I've really been enjoying the process. But that's exciting. And yourself, what have you learned?
Sure, I asked that question so easily as if I have an answer.
Yeah, answers.
I really, really learned to just calm down. I think I'm quite hysterical about life. Like, you have certain expectations and things have to happen a particular way at a particular time and look a particular way. And I've really just like learned to calm down. Yeah. Forcefully, right? And I've actually kind of realized that it's okay. It's okay to calm down. It's okay not to know what it is you want to do next, or what the next step is, or if things make sense, type of thing. And I've always had a problem with like uncertainty. I have a big problem with uncertainty. But in this space, I've kind of had to grapple with it and deal with it, and it would stress me out. And I've kind of just gotten to a point where I was just like, you really need to relax. Like, relax.
It's so funny because like a friend of mine a day ago or something, I posted like some quote from Dolly Parton, and I think it said something along the lines of, you need to find out who you are and do that on purpose, right? Like live that purposeful life. And a friend of mine said to me, do you know what your purpose is? And how did you know that was your purpose? And like, what confirmation did you have, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a deep question, existential question, actually. And I'll just get back to you because I just need to think about it, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there, I'm actually thinking about it, like a response, and I eventually said to her, I actually don't know for sure what my purpose is, but I think I'm on the right path with everything that I'm doing, like in life now, and I've been forced to think about it, like in lockdown. And in terms of confirmation, I think confirmation is different for everyone, right? Yes. Like, I don't think that if you're living in your purpose, it has to be peaceful all the time. Like, it has to be like amazing, right?
Yeah.
I said to her, like, I think like what I'm doing now and the space I find myself in, I find it so peaceful. I mean, it's challenging, I won't lie. Like, there are days when emotionally I could just be okay in the morning, and in the afternoon I'm like, guys, I'm not feeling well, and I'm just like a ball of like tears, right? And I have no reason to be crying, but like emotionally I'm just like not okay, right?
Yeah.
But then after that I wake up and I continue, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm enjoying the space that I'm in. So purpose is such a difficult thing for me to explain, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Do you think like in your self-discovery now, as you were saying, that like it's okay to not know, do you think like you found your purpose and like you know what you're supposed to be doing in life now?
So no. Which is interesting because I've always felt like I know what my purpose is. Like I've always been the person who is like, listen, I know my purpose is to do
Yeah.
this. Whether in whatever way I do it, I've always
Yeah.
known that my purpose is to work with women, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've thought that was it. I've known it for a very long time. But you get into like spaces and in life and you find out that you start to have different perspectives, right? And you start to have different views. And sometimes you feel like, oh, maybe the views that I have now as I'm growing older are conflicting with me thinking with a thing that I'm saying is my passion, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you're thinking, well, it's my passion and I'm supposed to be able to monetize it. And you're like, how do I monetize something that is seems like a social problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems very there's a word like not okay to think that you could monetize something like that. So I've been grappling with that, thinking, so what is it? Have I been concentrating on the result, right? And maybe not on the root of it. And that's what I've been questioning myself. Like, maybe it's not that. Maybe there's something else that results in me thinking that I have a passion for working with women. There's something else. Where does that come from? Right? Because I think that would be my driving purpose, because that can drive me towards anything. Doesn't have to specifically be working with women, because life is so you have to be flexible, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Happening. And if you feel like you're specifically just pegged to one thing, you're never going to be able to be adjustable and flexible to everyday life changes. But there's always just that one thing that carries you through, that always changes with you, that is a thread. Like, okay, I still have this, but now I can move it into this space, right? But okay, like, this is changing. Or maybe I'm bored, or I need a different challenge. Let's thread this into like a different thing. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. And I'm okay with not knowing what it is. Like,
what you're saying, I actually want to ask you like a question, right? Because you've mentioned so many things. So you've mentioned the aspect of like monetizing a passion, which is working with women. And I think that might fall into the realm of like social entrepreneurship, right? When you actually monetize like social causes, etc. But then I think it's interesting that you mentioned that you've always had a passion to work with women, right? And like I want to know like why specifically women? I think therein could lie like an answer. Like why specifically just women? Why not children or people in general, or animals for that sake?
That's true. Wow. See, that's the question I'm trying to figure out. Like, why? You know what? One thing I really do know that's been like, because I've been journaling about it, is one really good thing I know is that I really, really love storytelling, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I think I made a thread for myself from nowhere. I made the link for myself. Like, oh, maybe these two are linked. Because like, I really, really find every time I speak to different women in my life, women who have raised me, I always find interesting stories about their lives, about their journeys, about things they have experienced, right? Whether it be stories of resilience or stories of just life in general, talking about relationships, about love, about children. There is a depth of story that I've always like experienced from that, right? And so I felt like there is a thread there, because I really, really love just the storytelling aspect of it. Like, just being able to express for women to be able to express their lives and be like, here, this is where I am right now. But how I got here is interesting.
Yeah.
So I thought that was one of the things that I really, really love listening to women and their journeys and their experiences. I think there was a time where I literally wanted to travel in African countries just so I could film myself talking to women in different African. So I don't know what it is there, and so I don't have the answer for you. So I don't have the answer for myself.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy to be trying to figure it out.
But I think you're on the right path, right? And I don't think that we're supposed to have all the answers now, right? And I think in business, like in general, like, you know, in like my 9-to-5 work, we always talk about pivoting, right? Especially when you're working with like innovation and technology. Like, it's okay for us to build a business case with certain assumptions, right? And we always build in like a confidence factor to say, we're like 70% sure that this is the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And then only when you're like in market do things start to like pivot, right? And you start seeing different results, and you always have to then draw a line in the sand and say, okay, so this is where we're going to stop because we've learned this. So what does it mean? Do we continue or do we pivot? But I think like with you starting Amandla Way to like recently, I think that's a great platform for women, you know, and women of color to come together. So tell us a little bit more about that. I think it's such a great initiative, and I'm so excited to be a part of it, you know.
Yay! So I mean, I've been having discussions with a few friends about it, like a few times before that. I'm thinking just my experience as a working woman, and kind of the everyday things that you struggle with, right? Navigating the working world, that's the first thing, but also just navigating the fact that you feel like you want more from life, right? But you don't know how to get through those spaces. You want to be able to speak to other women of color who have been navigating, maybe have familiar experiences of navigating life the way that you think you want to, but tapping into them always seems so difficult. I mean, for me and my experiences, I don't know, I've requested so many coffee dates with other older, Black, more established women in corporate who have not received the reception I expected, right? And for various conversations with myself, I think I got over the disappointment of that because I realized the realities are far more than the dreams in my head. Yeah. But I thought, I'm always tapping into my friends, right? Like when I'm going through things, I'm always like calling you or telling another friend about, this is what I'm going through, this is what's happening. Or if there's an opportunity or interest, somehow it comes up in a conversation to say, you know, I was thinking of doing this or doing that. And I thought, I have this great community of women, and I'm sure they have a great community of other women that they know around them, who they always leverage information around. What if we were to come together and kind of be that support basis and that network that we're always looking outside from other people to provide for us? We can be that for each other. We're all very different. We have different interests, different backgrounds. And we can all definitely learn something from each other. Collaborate on any kind of projects for work. And also just the power of networking, right? Yeah. Because now in this space, in wherever space, when someone says, listen, I'm looking for, you know, a Black woman who has a small business for scented candles, it has to be organic, and who's passionate about it. Literally someone in the group can say, listen, I have a friend who's part of this group. And that in that group, there is a woman. She's always telling us, I think so. Let me speak to her. Like, do you realize that the thread that it, you know, it creates for us? So, I mean, I just wanted a space like that for myself, where I can different perspectives. I can be able to collaborate with women and be able to be like, even if you're going to the next step of your life or choosing something different, you can like, listen, I'm going into this and I know that this person, you're already in that field. Could you tell me more about it? I'm moving into management position. I know you've been manager for 3 years now. How's that been going? How do I navigate around something like this, right? Instead of having to break yourself and your self-confidence, chasing around these people who don't have time for you. Just to create a space.
And you know what's interesting, right? I work with this girl, and you know she's not a person of color, right? And she has a coaching business. Like, she's really great at like coaching people, making you aware of your strengths, right? And then making sure that we just focus on those things. And I was having a conversation with her, and I was like, you know what? Maybe like sometime when we're like in a better space, like at work, emotionally, whatever, I'd love for you to coach me, right? Because she actually does it as like a side business. And I was sitting there and we were having this conversation just like at a very high level. And she says, you know, it's interesting that I also tend to like basically coach a lot of like people of color, because like, I don't know, maybe it's just in my experience that sometimes Black women don't like to coach other Black women.
Woo!
And I was like, what? I was like, what? So when you said that you've been sending out these invites for coffee dates and etc., and I guess also it's just to say, you know, I mean, there's so many other questions we could ask, you know, to why this person would have declined the coffee date, to say, you know, are they even the right person to be coaching you? Like, is it in them? Is it their skill? And, you know, is it something that they're interested in, or are you even aligned, right? You will be just making an assumption that you might be aligned. So there's so many questions to ask just that could lead us to why the person declined. But I thought that was such an interesting insight coming from a different perspective, right? To say, she finds it so interesting that like other women of color don't like to coach women of color, or be coached by other women of color. And I was like, what hectic, right? Because we're all on this Black women empowerment, you know, journey, and we want to be part of it, etc. But
you know, I really think, and that's why I really hate the concept of Black excellence, right? I mean, it's a great concept, but in terms of us allowing to live our lives just in like a purist type of way, I think it's it's damaged a lot of that, because we all want to sustain the image of this Black excellence woman. It would be very difficult for me to come to you and say, yes, you want me to coach you, but here are the realities that I am dealing with. And if you want to coach you, you have to realize that these are also the things that I'm grappling with. But if I am struggling myself to admit to you that these are the realities that I'm grappling with, even as this person that you admire, because then I'm ruining this image that you see me as.
Right? Exactly. It's a balance of perception and reality. And it's so delicate. And I think as people, we are very conscious and mindful of how other people perceive us, right? That we want to maintain that abantu bazothini syndrome, you know, and all those things.
Because none of those women ever canceled those coffee dates with me. It would either be, oh, I can't make it today, let's make it the next time. The next time, oh, I can't make it. Or the classic one. This one was my favorite. She didn't even pitch. Send her emails. She didn't even pitch. No pitching. Westgate, and I bumped into her so many times, so it just made things awkward between her and I, right? When she could have said, girl, I don't think I'm aligned with you. Communication. I don't think I can give you what you need, or the information that I don't think. But maybe I could recommend you someone. The only person, a Black man, who had no time, by the way, was the only one who would send me emails to randomly check on me. Randomly check. And then he would even go as far to say, listen, there's something that's going on. Or I would say, listen, there's something I'm interested in. He'd be like, okay, let me connect you to that person. He sends that person an email, CCs me in, and then he's like, you can take it forward from there on.
Yeah.
The only person in my entire career who has tried to leverage anything for me was a Black man. That breaks my
Yeah, and I really like this hashtag that says women supporting women now. And I think it's really trying to like really conscientize us to that fact, to say we really need to support each other and we need to stop tearing each other down, right?
Yeah, because if you think about it, it's not even a people only say it in a negative way, right? But we have to be kind to ourselves, because that's really just how society has programmed us. Because we have to fight. We without even realizing are fighting against each other for the attention of men, for kind of like getting the role of marriage being the most attractive, the most attainable, the most successful, and so because that has been happening subconsciously without us realizing it, you realize that you're actually being detrimental to another woman's success purely because of how you are. So it's really a good thing that we made observant of that. Someone should just say, listen, she's not attacking you.
No, so I agree. Yeah, man. I guess that's like something that we definitely need to be very conscious of. And I guess like in your space as you've created it, that we are also going to grow up and be women of influence, right? As we're building these networks and connections. That is something that, we need to continue to have that conversation so that we're very mindful about our yeses and our nos going forward. Because like you're going to be a managing director, CEO in the next couple of years, right? And then people are going to be reaching out to you the same way you've been reaching out to these women, right? So you just need to be very conscious. And I think transparency and open conversation, even with that person, like you were saying, is very crucial, because then now they know why you are not in a space to be able to provide guidance.
Definitely. That's why I always say if you're going to be part of this, you have to be participant. Because the only way it works is everyone actually puts in the work to make it, right? Because if you're not going to be participant, then you might as well. Because I think we've all been part of these things that were kind of supposed to be a networking group, but they've kind of fizzled out into something else, and it never really.
You only really just take out what you give in, right? That's really just the essence of it. And like on a personal social front,